mentalidad que la gente piensa que tiene que hacer 2 o 3 squats, 2 o 3 shoulder press, and that's gonna change their physique. La mujer no es el sexo débil, como se dice. No entiendo por qué siempre han dicho que la mujer es el sexo débil cuando en realidad mentalmente la mujer aguanta más dolor que el hombre. Si alguna vez usted se ha levantado con dolor de espalda, con un poquito de dolor en el hombro, quizás en el cuello, usted va a agradecer mucho la invitada que tengo hoy, que es una experta en varias áreas, joven, bella, inteligente, un combo difícil de encontrar. Pero hoy en el Fitness Revolution Podcast vamos a estar hablando de cómo el sistema te ha engañado y te ha mentido. Hoy tengo una invitada especial, amiga, compañera de gimnasio que la conocí y me intrigó su conocimiento profundo a tan corta edad. Mi querida, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenida al podcast. ¿Cómo te sientes hoy?
Muchas gracias. Me siento muy bien de estar aquí hoy.
Y hoy vamos a hablar en inglés y en español, que esto es bilingüe. Estamos en Estados Unidos de América. So what happens. We're going to be talking in Spanglish, ¿ok?
Yes.
Primeramente, explícale al público que te está viendo y escuchando cuál es tu carrera en la universidad que estudiaste y por qué. Porque me interesa saber why did you start focusing on the human body?
Entonces, me llamo Rebeca Fernández. Yo estudié en la Universidad de la Florida. I got my bachelor's in applied physiology and kinesiology.
Nice.
And now I'm pursuing my doctorate in physical therapy. I am a second-year student. And at first, I was trying to go into the medical school track. I really wanted to be a doctor. I loved everything about it until I started lifting and I realized the huge impact it had on my life. Like, I completely became a whole different person. Like, I first started lifting. It was great. It was a learning process. But then I realized that, oh my gosh, my muscles are changing. I'm getting stronger. Everything is becoming easier and I don't have pain. And I realized that physical therapy encompassed both the healthcare field and also exercise. And I was like, boom, this is what it is for me. And yeah, that's what brought me here today.
Interesante lo que ella habla, because she felt different. She started seeing changes on her body, but most importantly, the way she felt. That's something that people don't talk about often, and it's important to understand. Your body is a temple and you can manipulate it if you have the right knowledge and the consistency. What happens often, Rebecca, is that people want to see changes in months. And you don't understand, if you got 100 pounds overweight, that took a decade or two. You cannot expect ever to go back to your normal size in a month, because that's unrealistic. But let me ask you, what is the difference between kinesiology and the other career that you did? Explain to people what kinesiology is and else.
So kinesiology is the study of movement.
Correct.
So how your body moves versus physiology is what happens inside.
Correct.
So it's the science, basically the background of what happens when your body is going through these changes.
Cómo te mueves y lo que pasa dentro de ti.
Exacto.
La kinesiología es el arte de movimiento y lo que pasa dentro es el otro arte que ella estudió. Y hablando de dentro, el cambio más importante que usted puede tener es un cambio interno. Porque si el cuerpo cambia es a consecuencia de los factores internos que usted tiene. ¿Cuál es la sorpresa mayor que te encontraste en la escuela estudiando biology? Because I know you had to study a lot of biology. Que la gente no entiende que la biología es la base fundamental de nosotros versus what people think that happens outside of you. Meaning, in the anti-aging field where I am at, the first thing that people ask me when I tell them that I'm an anti-aging expert is, oh, so you do Botox and fillers? And I say, no. What I do is, like, I fix you internally, and because of that, you start appearing, having the energy of a younger version of yourself. What happens inside of yourself is what happens outside. ¿Cómo tú puedes explicarle a la gente la biología versus la mentalidad que la gente piensa que tiene que hacer 2 o 3 squats, 2 o 3 shoulder press, and that's going to change their physique?
Listen, it's honestly the most simple thing, but it is a little complicated. So it's just like anything. You work, so you make money. If you work one time, you'll make a little bit of money. But if you stop working, you're not going to make any more money.
Right.
It's the same with lifting. If you lift once, great. You feel great. Your heart rate gets up. You have some good changes, but really, it's not going to make any difference unless you continue to do it consistently. Me, for example, yo empecé a entrenar 6 años atrás and I haven't missed a single day. And
Nice.
because of that, I'm able to be where I'm at now. And not just the changes physically, but mentally as well. Your body needs to have that consistency in order to go through these changes, because just like anything else in life, if you're not consistent, nothing's going to change.
Si usted la ve, esa niña tiene un cuerpo que para qué le cuento. Yo la veo en el gym, bien dedicada. Y es algo que a mí me encanta. Yo te lo he dicho, a mí me encanta ver muchachas jóvenes haciendo ejercicios con pesas desde temprano, porque eso va cambiando la perspectiva social. Porque antes una mujer haciendo pesas era imposible. Antes, cuando yo era más joven y mi mamá y mi papá, no existía por ningún motivo que una mujer agarrara unas mancuernas y hiciera shoulder press o hiciera squat. Eso es algo que ha cambiado mucho a nivel cultural y me alegra, porque eso le da la oportunidad, especialmente a la mujer que envejece más rápido que el hombre,
Sí.
a perpetuar la juventud por más tiempo y también a entender las posibilidades que tienen como mujer. La mujer no es el sexo débil, como se dice. No entiendo por qué siempre han dicho que la mujer es el sexo débil cuando en realidad mentalmente la mujer aguanta más dolor que el hombre. ¿Por qué tú piensas que socialmente se ha dicho esa mentira de que la mujer es el sexo débil?
El patriarchy, man. That's it.
Okay, expand on that, please.
So, I mean, we're basically conditioned for men to be the stronger ones, for men to be the providers. And while all of that is great, it doesn't take away from the fact that women can also be very, very strong and are very strong. If in reality, you men wouldn't exist without us.
Absolutely.
Scientifically, physically, and mentally, emotionally, women provide support for men that cannot be given in any other way. Which I think is insane that women think that they can't, become that same exact level. And there's obviously different levels to things. You're not going to be exact equals just because of science. Men have more testosterone. Men are, typically have more muscle mass.
Reality is that men are physically stronger than women, and that's undeniable. But physically and mentally are two different things, because, for example, you know that most men freak out with needles. They can't stand that. I seen men faint with injections. Women couldn't care less. As a matter of fact, women have a child inside of them and they get birth and they go at it like nothing happens in a couple of months after. I think that is that mentality that we are beyond or below that is creating a lot of problems, because we're equal, and not only we're equal, the separation and the fighting that we have as society to determine who's better than who is making us divididos y nos estamos faltando el respeto.
It shouldn't be a competition.
Exactly.
It should be one supporting the other. And back to what you were saying before about women not going into the gym, que las mujeres en ese entonces no levantaban esas pesas, they didn't do the shoulder press or anything. That's 100% true.
Yep.
When I first started in the gym, I think I was one of 3 women in the whole weight section at LA Fitness.
Yeah.
And I was terrified. I didn't want to go anywhere past the treadmill. And understandable, you have men there screaming, grunting, lifting heavy weights.
I'm hitting on you also.
And looking at you. And it's I don't even want to be in that space.
Yeah.
But eventually, the more you expose yourself, just like with any fear, the more you expose yourself, the less scary it becomes. And then eventually, you're so comfortable in that space that it doesn't even matter. You just have to put yourself through that. And it makes me sad when I'm hearing women be like, oh, I don't want to lift. I don't want to get all bulky.
I hate that. I hate that. That bothers me so much.
Do you know how much time it took me to gain muscle? It's not going to happen un día a la noche. It takes time. It takes consistency. It takes to lift a lot of heavy weights. And not just lifting heavy weights. You need to eat a lot to get bulky.
Yeah. By the way, all these influencers that you see online that are bulky and that have masculine bodies, that is not natural. But so you know, and we're clear,
choosing to be that way.
They are using some type of stimulant or drug to look like that. Because that doesn't happen naturally. As a matter of fact, disculpa por la interrupción, pero tengo un mensaje muy importante que decirte. Imagínate que puedes revertir tu edad biológica. Imagínate que puedes sentirte con la energía, la juventud, el líbido que tenías hace 10 o 15 años. Para de imaginar porque esto hoy es una realidad. En Connections, lo que hacemos es que utilizamos la ciencia como herramienta y ni siquiera tienes que salir. Te enviamos en tu casa kits e inclusive una enfermera que te saca la sangre para tener sangre, excreta, saliva, orín, DNA, RNA, etcétera, hasta 10,000 puntos de data. Y con esa data y mi equipo multidisciplinario hacemos unos protocolos ortomoleculares bioregenerativos de antienvejecimiento basados en data que te garantizo que te van a revertir la edad biológica, te van a dar esa energía y ese líbido de hace 10 a 15 años. Es una promesa de un hombre que tiene más de 15 años de experiencia en esto y está comprometido con la excelencia para ti. Ahora, si quieres convertirte en tu mejor versión, te recomiendo que agendes una llamada conmigo en la descripción del video. Ahora volvemos al podcast. I've been lifting weights for at least 20 years and now after 20 years it's when I look like a man. I look like a teenager for 15 years, hitting it hard, eating right, and after 20 years is now where I actually can say I look like a man, like strong. So you as a woman, you won't get bulky because you lift weights. As a matter of fact, you need to lift weights in order for you to get all in a good, healthy way. Te voy a preguntar algo bien importante que es algo que estábamos hablando detrás de cámara. Y es que hay una cultura de influencers que la mayoría de las personas en TikTok, Instagram, eso es lo que hacen como workout. Ven un influencer que tiene 17, 22 años. Oh my God, what a beautiful body. Yo voy a hacer lo que él hace. Y hacen la rutinita que esa persona hace sin saber que eso le funciona a ella o a él. Sin embargo, la ignorancia tan grande de no saber entender que nosotros somos distintos y quizás lo que esa persona come, lo que esa persona hace, no es lo que te conviene a ti. ¿Qué te parece a ti lo que vemos en los gimnasios? Que la gente no tiene estructura at all.
Bueno, yo digo que es mejor que nada. I'm happy they're there, but it's not efficient. For you to gain muscle in the most effective way, you need to be doing the same exercises every week or similar exercises every week. And not just doing that, you need to be eating right. But sometimes I see people in the gym and, they're doing like box jumps thinking that's going to give them a fat ass. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, no, you need resistance. You need like a heavy weights. You need to do the correct rep range, 8 to 12 reps. You need to do the right sets. And if you're not challenging yourself enough, if you're just training to, be mildly discomfort instead of to failure, that's still not going to give you the results you want. You actually need to challenge yourself and suffer a little bit. That's the only way. And yeah, the influencer workouts, some of them are great. Some of them do the job, but they don't know what else is happening behind the scenes. They don't know that person had a great foundation already, that they have been an athlete for years, that they were born with some crazy genetics. Their parents were athletes or whatever. They don't know that. And they're thinking that this influencer is doing her little ab workout and you're overweight and you think that doing crunches is going to give you abs. But no, you need to do cardio. You need to do resistance training. And then, do your abs. But just know that you can't have abs just by doing ab workouts. You need to do the whole thing.
Abs are made in the kitchen, they say.
Abs are made in the kitchen, absolutely. And with the cardio, in my opinion.
So tell me some of the fundamentals that you learn in school and you practice nowadays that you can share with people when it comes to how they should move correctly. Because what I see is a lot of people doing things that are not correct. And as a matter, being honest with you guys, I go to a gym. I have more than 20 years of experience in the field. And I refuse to say to somebody, do this instead of doing that, because people think they know everything and they get offended. And I have to say, I'm sorry, I love women, but especially women. I'm a very respectful dude. If I go and approach you to help you to do something, it's not because I want to sleep with you. All right? I know that happens in the gym often, but me personally, I stop helping women because I have situations that they say, no, I know everything. I don't need your help. I'm fine. Which is unfortunate because with the knowledge that you have, that I have, we can actually correct people to get the results they want even faster. What's your opinion on that?
I actually have like a strong opinion about that.
Go at it.
So I personally don't mind when people come up to me in the gym and offer me advice. I think, it opens conversation. It allows me to create more friendships in the gym. Like, I don't mind at all. My problem is when you do it in a disrespectful and condescending way. I actually have an example that happened like a few months ago in our gym. I was doing an exercise. I was doing a full body day. And I was working my posterior oblique chain, which is something I had just learned about in class, which is activating your lat and your opposite glute in conjunction. You're also engaging your core. It's a full body movement to work on rotational strength and stability in a sport. I play beach volleyball, so that's super important for me. And I like to implement those kind of physical therapy workouts within my program. But I also have like 2 to 3 leg days that I do in a week. This man interrupts me in the middle of my set and he goes, "What do you think you're working on?" And I was like, "My posterior oblique chain." He's like, not thinking that I knew what I was doing. And he goes, "Listen, if you really want to grow your glutes, you should really not come up at the end of your exercise. You should really just stay at a hinged position." And I was like, well, actually, if I come all the way up, I'm working the glutes in the full range of motion, but I see what you're saying. Either way, I already hit 2 leg days this week. The purpose of this exercise isn't to grow my glutes, it's to work on my entire body.
Disculpa por la interrupción, pero tengo un mensaje muy importante que decirte. Imagínate que puedes revertir tu edad biológica. Imagínate que puedes sentirte con la energía, la juventud, el líbido que tenías hace 10 o 15 años. Para de imaginar porque esto hoy es una realidad. En Connections, lo que hacemos es que utilizamos la ciencia como herramienta y ni siquiera tienes que salir. Te enviamos en tu casa kits e inclusive una enfermera que te saca la sangre para tener sangre, excreta, saliva, orín, DNA, RNA, etcétera, hasta 10,000 puntos de data. Y con esa data y mi equipo multidisciplinario hacemos unos protocolos ortomoleculares bioregenerativos de antienvejecimiento basados en data que te garantizo que te van a revertir la edad biológica, te van a dar esa energía y ese líbido de hace 10 a 15 años. Es una promesa de un hombre que tiene más de 15 años de experiencia en esto y está comprometido con la excelencia para ti. Ahora, si quieres convertirte en tu mejor versión, te recomiendo que agendes una llamada conmigo en la descripción del video. Ahora volvemos al podcast.
You educate the dude immediately.
And he just was not expecting my response. My other friend that you always see me work out with, she's also in physical therapy school. She's there. She's like trying to back me up. And this guy is like, "No, you really should try it this way." And I'm like, dude, trust me. I used to have no ass. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I know how to grow my glutes. Today is not a day that I'm trying to grow my glutes. I'm trying to work on overall stability. So, thank you, but no thank you. And I feel like there's many different ways to approach women in the gym.
Absolutely. Or men.
Or men.
Yeah.
But one of the ways is not being like, "What do you think you're doing, stupid?"
No.
Like, no. Like, there's different ways to do it. If you're curious about what I'm doing and you want to learn more, please ask me. I am more than happy to explain and educate. I love explaining to people what I'm doing. And I'm very intentional with my training. So it bothers me when people come up to me and they're like, "What do you think you're doing? Are you doing this right?" And like, I would understand if I'm like, doing something to hurt myself and you wanted to protect me. But if you're just coming up to me and you're just giving me, unsolicited advice that like doesn't benefit me at all, then it's like, please just keep it to yourself. Unless I'm putting myself in danger.
Which is what I see often, and I just refuse to say, you know what? It's fine. Because I've seen people in situations with loads, with landing positions that are not correct, but I refuse because I don't want to get in trouble. I go to my gym to work out, to have my own therapy. However, I agree with you, and this is not to create dispute, but 100 times I can tell to a guy, "Yo, listen, humble, I think you should do this way." And they'll be like, "Yo, okay, I'll try it."
Yeah.
I think it's the atmosphere at the gym that we have created as men that makes women defensive all the time because they feel that you're gonna hit on them, when in reality it's like, we have educated eyes.
Yeah.
When you see something that is not right, you detect it immediately, and we have the tendency to go to hell because that's what we do for a living. But I had to suppress myself not to get in trouble, and to the point that you say, very respectful, I do it. But I have another question now that we're talking about this. What is your take on what you see, not only on our gym, but in every gym that I go? I see people doing things very incorrectly.
Yeah.
Too much weight, range of motion incorrect, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again without changing anything. What do you think most people don't get right about workout that they're doing wrong?
You see, that's like a complicated question, because back then I used to see people working out in the gym and I would say in my head, like, ooh, they're doing this wrong. Like, they're not going deep enough in their squat, this and that. They're going too heavy. But then after being in physical therapy school and learning how to kind of like train athletes in a way, you know that like sometimes you only want to strengthen the top of the part of the range of motion or the bottom part of the range of motion,
depending on the specificity of the exercise and the load.
So that's made me not quick to judge anymore, because unless I see that they're, you know, curving their back in a way or like doing incorrectly, if they're doing a small range, it might be because they're trying to strengthen that specific range. Like, for example, for like a volleyball player or like a baseball player, they might want to strengthen like the top part, the most explosive part. And while to regular gym goer, you might see them and they're like, oh my God, this guy is ego lifting, not realizing that they might be doing this for a purpose.
Correct.
So that's why I'm not quick to judge. And like, if I'm curious, I ask, but I don't immediately go in and be like, hey, what are you doing? In terms of safety and not doing things right, I think there's a huge problem with people just ego lifting like a lot. And I think it's great to lift beyond your means. That's the only way to challenge yourself. But if you're, you know, doing a shoulder press and you're straining your back all the way to the back, like that's not good for you, your overall health, for your longevity. Like that's just not going to work. So I think really people just need to be more aware of like what they're doing, look at themselves in the mirror, or maybe just ask a trainer. There's so many trainers around and they can help.
Willing to help you
without
charging you anything on the spot. And it's important to point out that we're not criticizing anybody. It's just observational things that we're talking here, because we want people to understand how to train properly for what they want to achieve. And it's very simple. You can't achieve anything if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Basically, that's the message. And with all this influx of I choose to do this today because this influencer told me, and then 2 weeks after I want this, because you're not seeing results, and results only happens with consistency, with nutrition, with proper sleep, with supplementation, with a mindset that allow you to understand that it is a process. And we live in a society that is very intoxicated with, number one, I want it now. And number two, I want it now. People don't want to wait for anything. And unfortunately, for you to get in shape, healthy, and young, you need to go through the process. She's been working out for 6 years. I bet you that you didn't see results in the first month.
No.
I bet you.
I felt better, but did I see anything? No.
And that's the unfortunate situation with working out and longevity and fitness, is that the rewards are long term. It's not like you're gonna do a workout and tomorrow you're gonna feel different. Now, talking about fast satisfaction, instant gratification.
Yeah.
What is your take on the GLP-1 medications that are great for certain parts of the population, but there are people that are abusing that to look skinny?
Yeah. So, well, what you were talking about before about delayed gratification, I think that's a great analogy for life. Delayed gratification is one of the most beautiful things one can achieve. And the gym and nutrition is like the most perfect example of that. What I'm going through right now, my 7 years of schooling, that's another great example of that, because I'm working hard. I'm not seeing the results now. I'm taking out $1 trillion of loans to be there. And
that's right.
You know, it hurts in the moment, but you know, eventually I will be grateful for it. Same thing with your career, with my future career. Everything takes time, everything takes effort. And if you expect to get something like this, it's not really going to work out in your best interest. In terms of the GLP-1 shots, the Ozempic, and everything like that, I personally, I'm not a great fan of that just because I feel like it is a shortcut.
Exactly.
And if you're severely obese, if you have conditions that really require those shots and are specifically prescribed to you by a doctor that is looking for your best interests besides just wanting you to look skinnier, I understand it in a sense, because if you're just the type of person that has tried to work out, hasn't seen results because you haven't been consistent, maybe that shot will trigger your mind to be like, okay, I'm taking the shot, so I actually need to start working out. Like, okay, I can get that. But if you're not obese in a way that's like life-threatening, if you're just, a little bit overweight and you want to take that shot, I feel like that's just a cheat code. And it's not even like a good cheat code. It has a lot of detrimental effects to your health. It's not just something that like, oh, you do it and then you're fine and then everything's good. No, like it's not good for your joints. It's not good for your lifespan. It has.
And you gotta do it for life.
And it's not the natural way to do things. It's just like steroids. Steroids, make you look great, but there's also many detrimental effects like your blood pressure, high risk of heart attacks, and just so many other things. So while I think the shot is better for like people who are at that point where they just have no other choice, which I understand, I think you just need to, suck it up. Honestly, it's hard and it's difficult, but you can do it. Like, it's not impossible. Millions of people have done it. Millions of people have been extremely overweight, and just by walking maybe 30 more minutes a day, they see changes. It's gradual. It's not easy. It's difficult. It's even depressing at times to see how hard you're working and you're getting nowhere.
Así es.
But if you really just look at where you started, that's the biggest difference. Because not only will it change you physically, but it changes you mentally.
Beautiful.
For example, me.
Perdona que te interrumpa,
please.
porque tenemos 15 segundos. Tenemos que hacer una segunda parte porque me ha encantado conversar contigo.
Perfect.
Pero para terminar, qué bello lo que ella dice. Me encantó esta experiencia. Vamos a hacer una segunda parte rápidamente porque tenemos tantas cosas de qué hablar. Así que nos vemos en la segunda parte.